There we go. Should be louder now. Hmm? True. Is this going to be one of those things where it plays, like, weirdly late? Maybe not. As a weathered boomer lefty, I've noticed that the nitpicky woke scoldery is more a function of being a fetus. Will boob or grass touching help? Or, a lot of it is people being young and dumb, but unfortunately, I do think the tendency persists for many. I think it's less likely to be a problem the older you are. It might also be a generational gap thing. Like, young people are more likely to be perma-online, right? So it would make sense, maybe as older people grew up perma-online. Funny, my first roguelite was Rogue. Yeah, I'm not that old. I haven't played Rogue. I don't know anything about it, really.
Okay. I'm back. I'm here. Blaze, I thank you for your concerns. I'm a little tired, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not exhausted. Um, I just feel I need to power through this. I've been having some insomnia in the last few days. Last week even. I haven't been able to fall asleep prior to like 6 in the morning. Even though I try to wake up so I'm tired in the evening, I still don't. Still, I just keep not falling asleep. And it really bothers me. And my girl is she has anxiety issues and she grinds her teeth quite a lot. So that doesn't help at all. Um, but she's getting Botox injections in her cheeks, which helps a lot. I think I hurt my back a bit taking a broken fridge out of my room. You had a fridge in your room, social. You had the fridge in your room. What? If it's a mini fridge, I question how you hurt your back though. Doesn't share the main fridge. Your brother is probably the biggest dick ever in that case. Holy shit. So it's like those half fridges is one of those. I can see one hurting their back on one of those, I guess. Mini fridge, you're just weak. But a half fridge, I can sympathize for sure. All right. I did I stream last week? I don't think I streamed last week. Maybe I streamed last week. I promised to stream more, but I don't think I streamed last week. Did I? February 18th. No, it's 2 weeks ago. Or yeah, I did made you a mob, a mod, Blaze. I feel you guys are here from the start. I don't, you should never make people mods who ask to be mods. That's the rookie mistake. You should only do it to people you feel like are just good people, you know? Okay, yeah. Your brother's just a dick then. Your brother's a massive dick to make you have that kind of fridge in your room. Holy shit! Is that a half fridge? It's like a two thirds, I guess. It's okay, Blaze. It's okay. Not all people have to be able to. Um, you don't have to be here all the time, but you're a nice guy. I like you. So I didn't stream last week. I was thinking of doing the was it Hake did a video um on George Orwell. this video, and I was thinking of covering it, but I watched Vosh's video or Vosh's stream 2 days ago, and he covered pretty much everything I was going to say about it. So there's not much else to say. Orwell wasn't a perfect person by any stretch of the imagination. But he fought in Catalonia for Catalonia, and Hakim just forgets to mention that, just ignores that fact completely. Which means everything. I mean, here, let's do a short. This throws everything in consideration. By the way, Social Lust, this is the Opera GX browser. It's an okay browser. It's a good browser for some things, I think, but it's got some quirks. Like if I close down all the windows, I can close down all the windows except this window, the GX corner. I don't want this. I can't close other tabs, close tabs to the right, save. Wait. Move GX corner to the sidebar. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. Oh, thank God. But if I hover here, it gives me a preview. Previews on. Okay, there we go. Preview from Twitter. Oh, by the way, I do have a new Twitter. So you guys can follow me there if you want. I have 5 followers since February 23rd. What is that? 4 days ago? Yeah. I'm back on Twitter. So you guys can follow me on Hugin Odinsson if you want. But yeah, so fascism. I think maybe this is it.
Arguably, his magnum opus, Animal Farm, was written in 1943 and 44, yet not a mention or room in his mind for condemning fascism as it was ravaging Europe. With the
Wait, why am I so far up? I'm too far down. Here we go. Did you hear that? Not a
mention or room in his mind for condemning fascism as it was ravaging Europe.
Except in Ode to Catalonia. My Twitter was banned, and my second one too. I don't know what they have against me. They said they think I'm a bot. Really? I too had some issues with Twitter. But I'm back. I'm not going to go into further details because I'm back, and if I don't want to be banned again. Twitter, for all its fault, I hate Musk. I absolutely hate Elon Musk. He completely ruined the game for it. But Twitter is such a good platform for just shit talking and building an audience, honestly. But yeah, Hake completely ignores all the writings that George Orwell has done about fascism and his explicit fight against fascism. He went to Catalonia as a journalist. That's his explicit visit, a reason to visit. But he stayed and fought. And he just ignores that. So I can't trust a single word Hakim said in this video because of that. It's a defining feature of George Orwell. But yeah, that's all I have to say. That's the kind of the only thing I didn't hear Vosh explicitly say that I would like him to say. Otherwise, Orwell's a complicated figure for sure. But yeah, he's done much more good than bad. That's for sure. Instead, what was this? Instead, I thought, why don't we talk about Rage Against the War Machine? Should we start there? I think we should start there. And why don't we start with someone I haven't talked about ever. Styx Hexenhammer 666. This dude came into prominence during Gamergate. I was part of Gamergate, but I never listened to this guy. He gave me the creeps, the heebie-jeebies, just the vibes of him were off from the start. And boy, was I vindicated when he came out as a Nazi. So I am quite curious what he has to say about Rage Against the War Machine. And for those of you who don't know, Rage Against the War Machine. This was a rally featuring Ron Paul. Oh, okay. Speakers, fine. Jimmy Dore, Ron Paul, Tulsi Gabbard, Dennis Kucinich. There we go. Cynthia McKinney, who I don't really know that much about, but she has a creepy look. What's her deal? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was a whole heap of people, including Roger Waters, talk about a fall from grace. And then Max Blumenthal. Oh my God. And we have Jackson Hinkle, Kim Iverson. These are, like, this is the merger of the Red-Brown Alliance in action. And who sponsored it? Libertarian, People's Party, TNT Radio. I have no idea who they are. And we have, show more members. Come on, give it to me. Center for Political Innovation, which is Caleb Maupin's org. Antiwar.com. We've been on this website before. It's a horrible website. Like 1990s design. And I hate these websites. Peace Hawk Coffee. Bree, who I'm guessing is Bree from Bad Faith Podcast. Can you still grow without the blue paid checkmark? I do not know. I have considered paying for it for a time period at least, just to be able to grow better. But at the moment, I'm not going to do it. I'm just having fun at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see if I have to pay for it or not. But I am willing to do it for a time period. That's unfortunately true. Let's see here. Nope. Okay. This is just me raging against people. But yeah. Rage Against the War Machine. Chicken hawks go completely insane with propaganda. I do not know if he's pro or against here. He could be either.
Alright everyone, we start off today talking about the Rage Against the War Machine rally that actually was held yesterday in the United States in D.C. Fairly good attendance. I love seeing some of the propaganda claiming, well, there was only a few hundred people that showed up there, and they were all a bunch of Russian sympathizers. You do realize that people are capable of fact-checking the crowd size by looking at clips other than the very, very carefully close-in shots that are being described by the missing link media that opposes the concept of the anti-war movement. And it is what this is. Now, that means strange bedfellows. So you got Ron Paul up on stage, but you've also got former Dem...
Talk about strange bedfellows. Oh... You have Styx Hexenhammer, who's a raging Nazi, agreeing with Jimmy Dore, who claims to be a socialist. We all know he's not a socialist. We all know this, but he still claims it, and that can be a dangerous thing.
Tulsi Gabbard. You've got Dennis Kucinich there. You've got the LP's leadership, like McArdle. And then you have people who represent left-wing groups, too. A link in the description archived, of course, is just one of the stink pieces about this. This comes from the world socialists. The far left, the pro-war far right, the neocons, the neolibs are all completely out to lunch. There are so many different compelling reasons to oppose brinksmanship with Russia at this time. Not even just the ethical ones, the economic ones make sense. War inflation is definitely a thing when you're spending tens of billions of dollars abroad, and you're printing that somewhere, I think. It can become a problem. You do have the ethical question. I would say the strategic question as well is one that needs to be addressed, which is what good is being done. We've tried this kind of strategy before where a third-party state is in some sort of conflict and we back one side or the other. Did it work with the FSA in Syria? No. It prolonged conflict and Assad is still there. Now you've got open Iranian antagonism within the region.
I feel like he's jumping back and forth between being pro and being anti supporting Ukraine here. Like in this house, we support Ukraine in this house. That's for sure. But he feels like he's jumping back and forth. I still, 2 minutes into this video, I still don't know if he's pro or anti supporting Ukraine.
As they were called on. You also have skirmishes involving Turkey, an important NATO member, by the way, I would point out, with a massive-ass military ground capability. We've had all sorts of problems as the result of that. Look at Iraq, where we also were indirectly intervening, or Iran for that matter, prior, for an extended period of time. What ended up happening? Despite Saddam supposedly almost getting the bomb, we march in, upend things, Saddam goes, but are things stable and wealthy and people are well off in Iraq? No. What about in Libya, where we were supporting groups there, Benghazi? No, Libya has been crushed. There are parts of the country were beginning to gain almost developed status. Now it's sub-third world.
What is he saying? What's the point? Get to the point. I still have no idea. And we're almost 3 minutes into the video. He's talking about all these other conflicts and how they were bad. And I agree with him. But that doesn't mean anything, really. At the end of the day, it doesn't really mean a shit. Because I agree that those conflicts are bad or were bad.
Like most desperately impoverished you can possibly have. Basically look in Afghanistan. After 20 years, we decide to leave. Things collapse immediately. They're right back to square one, having left a bunch of toys and goodies for the next generation of mujahideen. We also had an influence there before we actually launched a war. It was more like the situation in Ukraine. In Vietnam, we didn't start. We also had an influence there before we actually launched a left a bunch of toys and goodies for the next generation of mujahideen. We also had an influence there before we actually launched a war. It was more like the situation in Ukraine.
No, it wasn't. I don't even think it's close to similar to Ukraine. Not even close.
Vietnam. We didn't start off by invading Vietnam to nullify them commie advances. No, long before that, we had advisory forces there to train people. We were sending weapons and aid and money and so forth. And
wasn't USA starving them? Starving who? Wasn't Vietnam a French colony? Or something? I have some... Blaze, I still have no idea what you're talking about. I understand Afghanistan. I'm just... USA starving Afghanistan at the moment? French Indochina. Which I believe is US invasion. US invaded Vietnam after French colony. Troop involvement peaked in 1996. American troop combat in Vietnam. Because I remember... Oh my god, give me the... Oh. Change the battlefield and geographic character from an independence struggle to a global conflict against communism expansion. In September 1950, the US started to supply the French. Yeah. So this has zero to do with Vietnam, or Vietnam has zero to do with Vietnam or Ukraine. There's no connection here at all. Because you can... The US holding Afghanistan money. Damn. God damn, that's not... We'll look at it that after this, okay? That's a bad thing. I don't like that.
And trying to do the diplomacy thing. Somehow the Ukraine situation is worse now. As of the other day, with Kamala Harris officiating the fact that the United States deemed that Russia had committed war crimes in Ukraine, the door to diplomacy has been effectively slammed shut. At this point, I think that what they're hoping to do is to do to Russia what was done to the United States in multiple recent engagements.
Okay.
Which is that by beefing up the Ukrainians, the Russians can't win. They can hold territory. They can have air superiority to some basis, but they can't ever win because they can't ever exhaust the firepower and the manpower. Although I would note that NATO is openly admitting now, hey, we're running low on our ammo stores. It's we're going to need to crank out some more mortar shells and shit. Well, I guess if...
He's not entirely wrong. Like, that is kind of what the US is doing. Make it impossible for Russia to win. I just say that's a good thing, though.
If you want less unemployment, those factories getting expanded are temporarily useful. Almost there's an economic side to it. Well, all of the arms dealers that happen to donate heavily to political campaigns. Who'd have thunk that would ever happen, by the way? It's never happened before in U.S. or human history. I would like to point this out with regards to
this is... Imagine talking about the war or war industrial complex or the pharmaceutical industrial complex, the same way you talk, or let me rephrase that. Imagine talking about the food industrial complex the same way you talk about the pharmaceutical industrial complex or the war industrial complex. I think that's just incoherent. Like, you're giving money to big food. Look at what they do with the piggies. Look at what they do with the chickens. Yeah, that's bad. I agree. Yeah, that's bad. But I also need to eat. I also need to sustain myself. And I can't do that without giving them money. The same way. So not everything the food industrial complex does is inherently bad. Just as not everything the war industrial complex or the pharmaceutical industrial complex does is inherently bad. It's not a monolith. Blaze, forcing peace, if you mean forcing Russia out of Ukraine, in which case I agree with you. And we should do that by supplying Ukraine with more guns, with more weapons, with more tanks, with more missiles, with more air support, or with more fighter fighters. If we should try forcing peace, you mean getting to the table and make Ukraine agree to concessions. I do not agree with that. We shouldn't force Ukraine to do anything they don't want to. This is their war, and I am happy to aid them in the best way that I can. In the best way that they see fit at the moment. As long as a single Russian soldier is treading freely on Ukraine soil, my support for Ukraine to liberate itself is near unlimited. Exactly. It's like that, the meme. Sometimes aiding someone, sometimes helping someone comes in the form of a gun. I promise you, this guy. Shut up, creep. Let's see here. Self-defense. Kyle Rickner acting in self-defense. Time to America speak out about leftoid violence. Let's see. Guns. Oh, gun. These medics decide to track gun control. So the guy is 100% against the military-industrial complex when it's about sending weapons to Ukraine. But he is okay with being able to buy a complete fucking arsenal for personal use in the US. But that's not supporting the military-industrial complex, is it?
Pretending that the rally only had 300-400 people at it, that is a lie. Pretending that everyone there is waving Russian flags. Yes, there were pro-Russian groups that amassed there because it's against the specifically the U.S. involvement with the war. The rally only had 300-400 people at it, that is a lie. Pretending that everyone there is waving Russian flags. Yes, there were pro-Russian groups that amassed there because it's against the specifically the U.S. involvement with the war in Ukraine. Most of the people there were LP members and sympathizers, some leftist groups like hippies and shit with the rainbow flags that simply refuse to cuck and do like the NPR liberals have done and say, well, this war is different. I'd also like to point out one other thing. All the time, Anytime a proxy conflict like this drags on and on, more and more people get off the, hey, we should keep doing this thing. Economic turn slowdown, hey, maybe we shouldn't send this lethal aid, this money. The mass casualty event, terrorist incident gets spawned. It chips away at this. Like with the invasion of Iraq, the invasion of Afghanistan, the early influence over Vietnam, the list goes on and on. Anti-war movements never start off particularly popular, unless war exhaustion is already high and there's some sort of compelling reason. Most often it's a vocal minority of people like this, or like myself, that oppose continued action.
Okay,
in,
there
in
came
part
to
of the
a
whole,
explicit
and say, maybe we should attempt
position.
diplomacy this time. I know it doesn't make as much money for your shareholders of the people in Congress, but it is the right thing to do. And then you get a wall of propaganda saying, no, if you don't wholeheartedly and full-throatedly support killing a bunch of people, then that means that you like the other dude. So you like Putin, and strangely they tie up Z in here, even though some of the people complaining are leftoids. So I don't know exactly what they're smoking. It must be stronger than yesteryear's hippie weed.
So you can, I can conceive of a person being against war aid for Ukraine and not being pro-Russia. I cannot conceive of a person opposing Ukraine fighting back and not being pro-Russia. Those two are, because the latter is absolutely 100% what is being done in at this anti-war rally, which is a pro-war rally. It's like what they fail to realize, these people, is Russia is acting like the US did in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Vietnam, in Korea, in name the conflict. Except post-World War II, I should say. Name the conflict post-World War II. That is exactly... Russia is acting exactly like every other U.S. Imperialist war. And I'm against that. I'm against the U.S. imperial wars, and I'm against the Russian imperial wars. If Russia sent aid to Vietnam, which they did, I wouldn't oppose it. Or Soviet Union in that case. If that happened, if that conflict happened today, I would not oppose Russia sending Vietnam aid to fight off the imperialist US invasion. Just as I'm not opposed to the US sending aid to Ukraine to oppose the Russian imperialist invasion.
This is sellout. They're on fentanyl now, I suppose. You get the propaganda, but over time it begins to wear off in effectiveness. And more people say, well, I was never really for it to begin with. 5 years from now, a lot of the people that right now have the Ukrainian flag in their bio, they won't anymore. This is slightly different from the Iraq War, though, because in the early throes of that, when it was more popular, social media was still pretty new. There wasn't a whole lot going on then. Back in 2003, YouTube is brand new. And you've got, the dawn of social media like Facebook thereafter. You don't have the kind of...
Okay, I think we get the gist here. He is a massive cuck. And let me just go like this. I want to see... So we have some Twitter sleuths, or let's call them Twitter sleuths. Here at the Rage Against the War Machine rally in DC, Matthew Heimbach and Shandon Simpson tell me they aren't white nationalists anymore. And Simpson denies ever being member of Atomwaffen. Color me unconvinced. Yeah, and who is this? No, I do not want to. Okay. Matthew Heimbach, Traditionalists Workers' Party. Who is he? The Southern Poverty Law Center has commented that Heimbach is considered by many to be the face of a new generation of white nationalists. According to Counter-Extremism Project, Heimbach's platform is based around the idea that the white race has been disadvantaged because of globalism and multiculturalism, which he has largely blamed on a global Jewish conspiracy. That's these people. And I believe CPI. Do we get it? According to Ben Rubenstein, who chaired the executive committee of TPI, Matthew Heimbach and Shandon Simpson were invited to CPI without knowledge nor consent of other organizers. Of the other organizers? I do not know, but he was at least present at, I believe, their after rally party or something. I don't know. CPI Rage Against War Machine. Such a long name. Took zero accountability for sexual misconduct and exploiting CPI members. In their teens is trying to have an after party on February 19th in DC after the Rage Against the War Machine protest. Kids especially should be kept away from the CPI cult. Yeah, I agree with that. Here we go. Former security for Richard Spencer, Matt Heimbach, and neo-Nazi ex-National Guard Shandon Simpson are at the real CPI USA after party and even have their own booth. The Hinkle leftists. Yeah. Yep. Neo-Nazi ex-National Guard Shandon Simpson reveals that he is talking behind the scenes with a member of the New Frontier US, the same group which was a hoster at the Caleb Maupin after party and shared a table with Charlottesville rally attendant Matt Heimbach. So that's the people we're talking about here. And I read an article. I just liked it, didn't I? I didn't bookmark it. Let's see if I can find it. I should be able. I've only been there 4 days. It's in the early section, I believe. I like pretty much everything though. Like it's. I have a problem with liking too many tweets. Oh yeah, this one. Danny Haifong, I believe. Unless you all know something I don't, there is no proof that Russia is bombing Kiev. Explosions were heard after Russia announced the military operation in Donbass upon request of the breakaway republics. This does not equal an invasion. Don't let war propaganda cloud reality. Russia didn't invade Ukraine, just as Iraq didn't have WMDs, or Syria didn't use chemical weapons on its own citizens. The US is merely waging yet another coordinated propaganda campaign to lie the world into a war. February 24th, 2022. A few hours later. Denazifying Ukraine is a good thing, actually. Oh my god, apparently they are invading them. Same day even. Strange. Oh, and just to make sure that... Oh, this is it, actually. This is it. Rage Against the War Machine rally from Amanda Moore. Continue reading. Jackson Hinkle, who spoke there, apparently has a new girlfriend. And it's none other than Anna Linikova. Now, who is Anna Linikova? Now, first of all, smoke bomb. I'll give credit where credit is due. But she is Miss Russia. What are the odds that she is a Russian operative? It's not impossible, at least. It's a non-zero statistical chance that she is a state operative as Miss Russia. Now, the funny thing is, it's not confirmed. Like, he's just visiting Miami at the same time as she is, at the exact same places, eating the same things, you know? It's just a coincidence that she has the same sleeves. And here's the funny part. But he has said it at least. But she hasn't said anything, and they're not official, I guess. But here, Hinkle told a Twitter follower he would be staying at Four Seasons Surfside depending on the dates selected. The cheapest guest room at Four Seasons Surfside currently runs at $2,000 to $4,600 a night. A night. Hinkle's first post in Miami was on January 26th, and on February 2nd, he posted on Telegram he was on a flight giving the couple a full 7 nights in Miami. Even if they selected the cheapest option available, the hotel stay will likely cost them at least $14,000. Do you think Hinkle has that kind of money? No, I don't. There's not a chance he would spend, unless he's like the biggest cuck in the world, I guess. God. Go to site. Let's see Air Social. I'm gonna open image. There we go. Your account is permanently suspended. After careful review, we determined your account broke the real rules. Your account is permanently in read-only mode, which means you can't tweet, retweet, like content when about creating a new account. If you think this was wrong, have you tried submitting an appeal? I'm guessing you have tried. But this doesn't tell anyone why you were suspended, though. Does it? Perhaps Hinkle, who brags about his hot girlfriend on Twitter and spends his time desperately seeking attention on the social media platform, hasn't tweeted a photo of himself with Linikova because he doesn't feel the need to prove that she knows he exists. Or maybe there's another reason he's kept it quiet. Of course, it's unlikely Rage Against the War Machine organizers would have cared. At no point was it disclosed to the crowd that speaker Wyatt Reed's current employer, Sputnik, is a Kremlin-funded propaganda outlet. Imagine being Miss Russia 2022, and then you get a message from FSB that you're going to have to start dating Jackson Hinkle. Oof. Oh, right. Oh my God. You might actually have been personally reviewed by Elon Musk. You can't make fun of him on Twitter anymore. It's a free speech platform as long as you toe the line. Yeah, that's probably it. H3 isn't there anymore, are they? H3. Oh, they are there. Well, there we go. But since they're back, shouldn't you be able to be back? This thumbnail is gonna be memed on for a long time. And I'm here for it. They are such goofy goobers, these guys. Okay, I shouldn't be streaming me scrolling Twitter. That's probably not a good idea. I should. It can't hurt. What is this about Biden holding on to Afghanistan assets from February 11th? Oh, right. Wait. I want to do one more thing before we move on. Rage Against the War Machine. I want to see some images of attendees. I want to see was this it? Where are okay, sure, but sure. I do not reject all, thank you. That's not from Rage Against the War Machine protest. Protest the billions of dollars the U.S. is spending on arms.
This march is massive.
It's not massive.
Ahead, 2 or 3 blocks is the front of the march. It's going back blocks.
I mean, look how spread out everyone are. Which makes it look bigger than it is. Like we're talking a nation of, like if this had been I don't know, Lithuania, I'd call that a big rally. But we're talking about a nation of 300 million people. This is 200 billion to Ukraine with our infrastructure in crumbles. While our infrastructure crumbles. Yeah, you can do both. Those do not conflict necessarily. Wait. No NATO, no war. No NATO, and Russia invades the Baltic states like that.
Boys, you're the gray zone!
Wait. Drop acid, not nukes? Go tell that to Putin. That's... US hasn't threatened dropping nukes. Putin has. Know your enemy. Left, right, black, white. Unite and fight against their authoritarian, hostile takeover of the world. Like, this isn't a massive audience. It's a decent sized audience. Like, I'd be happy having this audience. But massive in the US? Like, remember the Civil War march? I don't think you can necessarily equate the two. But that stretched out here. And they're barely filling out this spot. God bless Elon. No to US proxy war. No more US tax dollars for war. BlackRock, get out of Ukraine now. Is BlackRock in Ukraine? BlackRock, Ukraine. Okay, they are. Is that from this march? Is that really from this? It might be. If so, it's a decent sized march. I'll give them that. I've read other accounts. But it's hard to tell. You see the flag of colonizers down here. You see... Let's see here. What more can we see? We see a lot of American flags. We see some libertarian flags. Quite a lot of libertarian flags. And then you have the Soviet flags. Like, this is every type of fascist ever in existence coming together against the one just war that the US has ever helped. I don't want to say they funded the war. They funded the defense. And it's just such a weird... But yeah, I'll give them that. They were clearly hoping for more. But I'll give them. It's a decent-sized audience. But yeah, there are some Trumpists, of course. And they see this as a good thing. Like, if I'm ever at a rally and there's a bunch of Nazis around me going, yeah, to words I agree with, I'm going to take a second look at those words. I'm going to take a second look at myself. I'm going to start to question why I'm there. Is it possible? Like, oh yeah, let's say they cheer for universal health care. Sure. I can, I can't see them. I can't see them do that. But if they did, hypothetically, I'd question the speaker. I'd question them being actually Nazis, I guess. But I can't really see that happening because that would mean healthcare for black and brown people and Jews and whoever. And illegal immigrants as well. Like, I can't see Nazis doing that. But it would give me pause. That's for sure. Okay, that's enough. They had a decent-sized audience because they had a bunch of speakers. But apparently the rally kept going on for hours and hours and hours. And there was a lot of personal grievances mostly, apparently. I don't know. Biden keeping half of Afghanistan's $7 billion in assets for 9/11 victims. US President Joe Biden signed an executive order Friday allowing approximately half of the $7 billion in frozen assets from Afghanistan's central bank to be reserved for victims of September 11th, 2001 terror attack. Why? The remaining assets, 3.5 billion, will be set aside in a trust fund slated for humanitarian assistance in Afghanistan. So, it just hit me that the Taliban are in control in Afghanistan. Oh, damn. It just hit me. I'm having a Pink Floyd shirt on because Pink Floyd, for all the faults of Roger Waters, apparently, for all the faults of Roger Waters, Pink Floyd is still based. And I'm afraid to say he's fallen from grace. With the types of people he's associating himself with these days. Oh well, it just hit me. Civil assets forfeiture. We literally see. Oh yeah, exactly. And I don't like it, but it just hit me that the Taliban are in control. And just giving them the money, like it's a rock and a hard place. That's where I'm finding myself. I am gonna say, though, this is not good, but I could also see them, like, instead of doing this, I don't know what to do here. I really don't, because giving the Taliban a bunch, $7 billion, what would they do with that? Oh, now we can better hurt or better suppress democracy. We can better oppress women. Great. How fun. How good. That's what I want to see happen with my money. It's not my money, but you get the idea. With stricken rules, I'm guessing you mean with marking them for projects or with strict rules. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But that's also kind of the Taliban would never agree to that ever, and if they did, I wouldn't trust them. Let's read on. Let's see what happens. I don't like it. Damn. What they could have done is said, these $7 billion are all yours the day you hold an election. Maybe. Just make it a very simple, a free and fair election for all. Just make it very simple precondition. A very low bar to clear. And if the Taliban are if it's done with oversight from the UN and an international body, and they approve of the outcome, or they conclude that the outcome was fair and just, and the Taliban still won, the U.S. should have just given them the money, you know? But they could have done something like that. Like the lowest of bar to clear. Mohammed Naeem, the spokesperson for the Taliban political office in Doha, said in a tweet, stealing the Afghan people's money that was frozen by the United States is the lowest a country could stoop to morally and humanly. Defeat and victory are part of human history, but the greatest and scandalous defeat for a country or its people is when they suffer militarily and morally as well. Meanwhile, Munir Akram, Pakistan's United Nations envoy, said this money is critically needed to revive and sustain the Afghan economy, inject much needed liquidity, and to save millions of lives in the middle of the harshest winter. Pakistan is Afghanistan's neighbor. Yeah. There's something wrong with a financial system where one state can unilaterally block the national assets of another to pay off questionable claims by its own citizen, Akram said. The $7 billion in funds from the Afghanistan Bank, the country's central bank, that were on deposit at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York have been frozen since then President Ashraf Ghani's government collapsed after the Taliban takeover at the end of August 2021. The country has experienced economic collapse and food insecurity since then. Do embargoes and sanctions also do the same thing? I was thinking in terms of Cuba. I don't think their money goes through our banks. They can't go through your banks, I believe. I think there's, because of the embargo, it can't happen. So I think an embargo is a cruel and really, it should only be done in cases of war. Like the embargo on Russia, or is it an embargo? I don't know if it's the same thing, but you know, the sanctions on Russia, they are harsh and they hurt the country. But if the country goes to war with your allies, you kind of have to do something like that. It's going to hurt the people for sure. The issue with Cuba is that Cuba hasn't been at war with anyone, to my knowledge, for decades by now. Like, Obama tried to normalize relations, and then Trump came in, and he's like, fuck that shit. Cuba is a piece of shit, and I'm gonna punish them for being communists. Like, you can there's no justification for the Cuban embargo at all. It just hurts the people. It hurts their development. If the US actually wanted them to not be communists, they should open up and have Cubans be able to visit the US. Quite simple. Like, normalize relations, have tourism, inject some great needed money into Cuba, and Cuba will just eat that shit up all day long. And then they'll go, why don't we have democracy? It's now, thankfully, I'm a Swede. I can go visit Cuba. Let me... Here we go. Havana. How much would this cost me? Come on, just give me a price. From Stockholm for 2 adults in March. No dates, of course. Anyway, I can travel there at least. And I want to one day. I want to do that before they open up more, at least. Yeah. Sweet. I can just go. You can go to North Korea even. Like, if you can go to North Korea, of course you can go to run Pyongyang Marathon, apparently. Like, I'd be very interested in going to North Korea. That's for sure. It would be a bit less of a cultural appreciation as much as a gawking at the oppression that they suffer, as much as I can. My mom is currently trying to bring a family member over before the Republicans fuck shit up. Oh, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Like, I have my issues with Cuba, but I don't have issues enough with them that I think they deserve an embargo because they're not hurting anyone outside their own country. But yeah, they should become a democracy. They should open up to more political discussions and stuff like that. Continue with this, because it's a 50-50 issue for me, and apparently so it is for the US, it seems, or for Biden. Following 2001 attack, the Taliban, who were in control of Afghanistan at the time, refused to give in to US demands to hand over Osama bin Laden, the mastermind of 9/11, and dismantle his terror group Al-Qaeda. For years, the families of 9/11 victims have been pursuing financial compensation through U.S. courts and have renewed their efforts to claim it from the Taliban following the group's takeover last year. A judge has already given a writ in our system in order to freeze those funds in place so that these claims can have their case heard. A senior Biden administration official told VOA. When asked what the moral justification is for keeping the funds belonging to the Afghan people who were not responsible in 9/11 attacks for the 9/11 claimants. That's pretty much my question as well. That's why I think it's an immoral issue. The funds will be held while the claims of 9/11 victims move through the U.S. court system until a decision is made consistent with our country's laws and values. Some families of 9/11 criticize the decision. That's interesting. We firmly support the distribution of a large portion of these frozen assets to help mitigate the horrific humanitarian crisis and as aid to those suffering in Afghanistan today, said Brett Eagleson, son of 9/11 Bruce Eagleson, in a statement on behalf of the 9/11 community. However, for those funds intended for 9/11 families, while this matter to a court, as this action by the administration would do, will force the families of those killed in 9/11 to fight amongst each other. That is wrong, unfair, and unjust. So he doesn't think. So he's okay with it coming from the Afghanistan people. In a background briefing call with reporters, the Biden administration officials acknowledged that this is an unprecedented situation where the U.S. is holding $7 billion assets of a government they do not recognize. I think we are acting responsibly to ensure that a portion of that money can be used to benefit the people of the country. It is also still unclear how the Biden administration plans to distribute the $3.7 billion for humanitarian needs of the Afghan people. We're still working through the modalities of that trust fund and the governance structure of that trust fund, as well as the specific use of the funds. These are the reserves of the Afghan people. They're not the reserves of the Taliban, said Jacob Kurtzer to VOA. Kurtzer is director and senior fellow with the humanitarian agenda at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington. And so freezing them and starting to divvy them out based on our own internal calculations, I think sends the wrong message to the people of Afghanistan about what role the United States is playing in terms of responding to the humanitarian and really to the economic crisis that they're experiencing, he said. Yeah, that's my reading of this as well. It's like you're hurting people who are suffering immense hardship by doing this. Kurtzer said the moral imperative for the Biden administration now should be to help sustain the Afghan economy, to not rely solely on humanitarian aid, a complicated task considering no country has given formal diplomatic recognition to the Taliban as the legitimate government in Kabul. Biden's decision reflects the reality that the Taliban have not changed and are a rogue regime, said Hussein Haqqani, director of Southern and Central Asia at the Hudson Institute. It is important to understand that the Taliban claim to assess as assets of a government they fought to topple is just not justified. Taliban and their apologists have only been using the specter of a humanitarian disaster in Afghanistan to justify trying to take money that the international community had provided for the very different Afghanistan. The Biden administration official said that President Biden move is legally authorized by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, that provides the President broad authority to regulate a variety of economic transactions following a declaration of national emergency. I don't know. So it seems the funds were gonna go to the former administration, I want to say the U.S. backed administration, the Democratic administration. I don't know if I'm gonna call it that or not. The former administration, the administration that was backed by U.S. military, that crumbled at the sight of an or a Taliban with a gun. You know, that administration. It seemed like those funds were going there, and since that administration no longer exists, it's maybe they're okay doing this. I have no idea. It's a complicated situation, but I don't think the Talibans are to blame for Al-Qaeda. Like someone with more, not policy insight, someone with more knowledge of the situation might disagree with me here. I am completely open to that idea. But I don't think the Taliban were directly involved with the 9/11 attack. They just didn't want the US to dictate what they did. And honestly, it's all the CIA's fault anyway. They funded they funded Al-Qaeda against the Taliban. So I mean, it's an Ouroboros. It's the snake is eating its own tail at this point, it seems, and it's just the conflicts go in circles at this point. It's some Saudis were flying the plane, but I don't think that means the Saudi people should suffer. I don't even think the Saudi government was involved directly, though I wouldn't really mind if the U.S. withheld money from the Saudi government. I mind it in a broad sense that it sets a terrible precedence. Like, it's, how can anyone trust the US government? On the other hand, if say Russia invades Finland, you know what? Russia succeeds with invading Ukraine. Russia succeeds with installing a Russian puppet as the head of Ukraine. Would freezing their assets really be a crime? I mean, the Saudi government is horrible. Saudi government is a terrible government. Saudi government, not only Jamal Khashoggi, I mean, you can talk about numerous crimes against humanity from that government. We can talk about Yemen if you want. I mean, Jamal Khashoggi is one person. Yemen is an entire people, which the U.S. aids them in. So are we going to talk about the U.S. government in the same way? We're talking about, I mean, we're talking about very, 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 very complicated policy and actions by governments in terms of freezing assets and the implications and the ramifications of that. I don't think I agree with freezing the Afghanistan's assets, because sure, they toppled the democracy in Afghanistan, but that democracy was propped up by US government from top to bottom. It was built on sand. You can't build a democracy on sand. You have to build it on concrete. It has to be solid. Every person within a nation, or enough people at least, within a nation. I guess you can have beaches where you don't need sand, or you need concrete, but the cities has to be built. The core of democracy has to be built on a solid foundation. You know? The US, as it stands, is eroding from the inside. Much like the US infrastructure, US beliefs in democracy is eroding from the inside. And for every day that it erodes more and more, you get one step closer to fascism. Afghanistan and its democratic government that the US propped up was built on the flimsiest of solid ground. Like, it was a chasm underneath, and it just waited for someone to just go boop, and it just fell, you know? Why? And it did this because prior to the US invasion of Afghanistan, the fucking Taliban was already in control. And that's why I don't like this. It's going back to the status quo prior to US invasion, you know? This is... It's complicated, but that's why I have my doubts about the freezing of those assets, you know? It's tricky geopolitics and some corruption. You can have a sprinkle of corruption as a treat, you know. You can have your Salt Bay sprinkle of corruption. It's perfectly fine. Okay. I follow some bitches when it comes to on my Instagram, my private Instagram. I follow some bitches on there. And I follow this Norwegian, and I'm gonna say bitch. Like she's a what's this? Why do you want the firewall? Hold on. Okay. Let me just check one thing before I move on. Okay, sure, that's good. So it's anyway. And she's a bimbo, and I mean a bimbo. But I follow her because she's also kind of a right wing troll who has shared Andrew Tate things, and she shared this dude on her timeline, or her what's it called, the things that disappear stories. And he is, first of all, he's on Rumble, which just tells you everything. He said this is the worst trade ever because she deserves to be in a Russian prison for a bit of weed, I guess. But yeah, so she shares, she's a Trumper, she's a Tate girl. And that's why I follow her, because I would have never found this guy otherwise, you know? Like it's a trade-off. I get titties, I get ass, and I get shit like this that I can talk about. And that's a good thing in the end. I'm okay with that trade. I'm not logged in here. Huh. I should log in. Ba-doop-ba-doo. Let's see here. Fuck it. Let's do it later. So I thought, because this guy, I searched for him on here, and I have to be logged in for that. Okay, give me a moment. Give me a moment. I'm never on TikTok. I don't have it on my phone because TikTok sucks. Sucks balls. Hey, login successful. There we go. Okay. No. Just give me. Fuck off. Yeah. I don't want to upload. I want to search. Nej. Ah. Oh, we were there. We got it. There we go. And, okay, so here. Thank you. Whew. Finally. And I saw a duet, I believe it's called, with, here we go, Brett Cooper. Now, who is Brett Cooper? Let's just...
She's a 10, but she voted for Biden.
Hell nah, fuck that bitch. I'm with Donald Trump. If that bitch ain't voting Donald Trump, I can't fuck with her.
Why?
Because, man, Trump for the people. He don't like lazy people. See, Biden, he be falling asleep and shit. So that mean the girl falling asleep. I need somebody that's woke and know what the fuck going on. If people want to be delusional, I can't rock with them. See, the girl, she tripping. She need to vote for Trump.
She's a 10.
Who is Brett Cooper?
Welcome back.
She is the latest daily fucking... Of course. I thought we were going to go to her. News? What is... There we go. There we go. Brett Cooper. Thank you. That's this bitch. So who is this guy? I believe he's going to be the next AstroTurfed Republican operative. He is gunning for some big oil money, for some billionaire money. I believe, I have no possible way of knowing any of this, but I believe there's a good chance that a lot of his shit is paid off. Let's see here.
She's a 10, but she voted for Biden.
Hell nah, fuck that bitch. I'm with Donald Trump. If that bitch ain't... People see...
Do people say things or do they just watch it?
But she doesn't shave.
Is this...
She's a 1.
Yeah,
And then you exploded into
bro.
But if you threw up so
But she
Okay.
doesn't shave.
A 1.
She's a 1.
Yeah, she's not a traditional woman, bro.
but if you threw up so hard that all of your teeth came out of your mouth and then you exploded into a billion itty bitty tiny pieces.
But she doesn't shave.
What? I want to see someone... This is my kind of man. Yeah, okay, sure. Like, there's... Everyone seems to be reacting
She's
to
a
this
10,
video.
But she voted for Biden. How do you guys feel about schools teaching gender ideology to students?
Absolutely against it.
You're against it? Why?
Because it confuses children. Innocent children are impressionable, and when you poison that well, you can never take that poison out.
My opinion is that it's too much information at one time. There's plenty of other things that children should be focusing on rather than getting confused about their identity.
Who's this
Schools
bitch?
shouldn't be doing it for them.
What is this? Is this all the TikTok is? People reacting with pointing? Is that what we're doing here? Gays Against Groomers is just a Republican psyop. Most of those people are just straight people cosplaying. I'm certain. Oh, TP USA. What a fucking surprise.
Or low gas prices?
Protect feminism. Just kidding. No, low gas prices.
Low gas prices? Why?
I'm not trying to pay $8 a gallon for gas. Feminism is crazy and evil, and it's been created to destroy the family unit, and I'm not about it. I'm happy being a woman, and feminism is destroying America.
Protect feminism?
Okay. So you didn't ask a feminist even. Someone who at least proclaims to be a feminist. if they'd support defending feminism over low gas prices? Like,
Or low gas prices.
what is this shit?
She's a 10, but she doesn't shave.
Man, fuck that. 24 for Trump. 2024 for Trump.
Trump 2024?
Trump 2024. He did that. We fuck with Trump 2024.
She's a
Like, how is it possible for
10,
this guy to find every black person? No, that's that one.
She's a 10, but she voted for Biden.
A 1?
She a 1?
Fuck that bitch. I love Donald Trump. Trump wanted us to get off our ass and get some money.
How is it
Trump
possible
2024.
that he finds every single black person that agrees with him?
She's a 10, but
Like, does he just happen to stumble upon them? Is it just a coincidence that all black people he interacts with supports Trump over Biden? Is that just a coinkydink? Or is he a bit selective in who he talks to?
doesn't shave.
Hell nah. I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't ate a couple hair, but they were pretty though. They were 10, and I fuck with them. If I eat that pussy hair, just know I fuck with them. You know what I mean?
She's a 10,
What?
but she doesn't shave.
Hell nah. I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't ate a couple hair, but they were pretty though. They were 10.
She's a 10, but she doesn't shave.
A 1.
She's a 1?
Yeah, she's not a traditional woman, bro. She's a gross feminist monster that the left has created. She probably supports BLM, Biden, you name it, bro.
Okay, so this guy's just wait, what? Okay. He doesn't interact with anyone who doesn't agree with him. That's kind of
What's the solution to the
What is this? What is this? What's this? What? Where's your height, bro?
What's the solution to the border crisis?
We need to finish the wall. We need to go back to Trump's stay in Mexico policy. And then we need to allow people who legally want to come to this country.
So interestingly, these are the same people that say Mexico is a shithole, but people need to stay there, and they have no right to escape the shithole to get a better life for themselves. And they claim to be pro-people. They claim to be pro-humanity.
Legally and get them through the process. But we have 5 million people that have come to this country illegally. And
Wait. We have how many?
We have 5 million people.
Okay,
that have come to
million,
this
not billion.
country illegally, and we need to take care of our homeless veterans first.
Which Republicans do not want to do. The best way to take care of homeless veterans is universal health care. Republicans absolutely do not want that.
And those that are actual American citizens prior to taking care of other countries' people.
What is it? 5 million in a 300. How many people? 300 something? American population size. 332 million people. And 5 million is going to make a dent. What is that? Less than 0.25%? No, we can just divide it by... Oh, no, 5 divided by that. 5 divided by... That's less than 0.014%. 5%. That is nothing. Nothing. What's more here?
She's a 10, but she voted for Trump.
If she voted for Trump, she's 100. He had the gas prices right, inflation looking right. Why is eggs $12, man? Biden. Trump 2024, make America great again. Man, peace out.
I would not be surprised. What are your thoughts? I would not be surprised if he paid actors to be in his videos. I would not be surprised by that.
Thoughts on Jake Paul?
Jake Paul, he's doing good. He's a tough kid. He hits hard. At some point,
Is
he'll,
that-
he'll have to fight somebody that really
Chuck Liddell.
will test him.
Do you think it's fixed? Do you think his fights are fixed?
I'm not going to tell my fans to go out to the fight and go out and spar with the guy. For me, if they know if I go out there and fight, well, I'm fighting.
Yeah.
So
You're leaving it all in the ring.
Yeah, I'm leaving it all in the ring.
Yeah.
Wait. It's just conservative. Just.
What are your thoughts?
So he had Chuck Liddell on his show. That is, and he gets 20,000 views. That's it.
Do you think that Trump should run for president in 2024?
Yes, I think he should run for president. He's going to win presidency. So make sure you go and put your votes in for Trump ASAP.
Why?
Because he's the best president we ever had. He's for the people. He's for all of us. Whether you black, brown,
1,000 followers, and he has Chuck Liddell on his show.
white, whatever the color, whatever. It don't mean nothing. Trump's here for us. Let's support him. Let's get out there and let's rock with him. Trump 2024.
So this is like this is real astroturfing.
Which celebrities do you think went to Jeffrey Epstein's island?
Bill Clinton, they had so many affiliations with him, you know. It's very, very bad thing, you know. But I think his death was very suspicious. Camera.
Okay, serious though. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to bet, or what are the odds that this dude is just paying off people? Say $100. If you're getting money from Republican operatives, how easy would it be, or how cheap would it be to just pay people $100 to say what you want them to say, and they're gonna say it? That's for sure.
Trump or Biden?
Biden.
Biden, why?
Because I don't like Trump.
What are some of the bad things he did?
He's just racist and just like a shitty person overall.
Could you give me like maybe one or two examples of Trump being racist?
I can't really think of shit right now, but I know he's done some racist shit.
Trump?
Wait. A random person on the street won't be able to necessarily give you citations. But I mean, he put out a full-page ad against the not Parkland shooter, the Central Park 5, I believe they're called. Like, he put out a full-page ad that ran for months. That alone is going to make him a racist. Also, he 100% barred black people from living in his apartments. Trump barred black people buying homes. During the presidential debate on Monday night, Hillary Clinton raised a 1973 federal lawsuit brought against Donald Trump and his company for alleged racial discrimination at a Trump housing development in New York. The Justice Department sued Donald Trump, his father, Fred, and Trump management in order to obtain a settlement in which Trump and his father were promised not to discriminate. The case eventually was settled 2 years later after Trump tried to countersue the Justice Department for $100 million for making false statements. Those allegations were dismissed by the court. Donald Trump charges in 1973 being sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination because he would not rent wouldn't rent apartment in one of his developments to African Americans. And he made sure that the people who worked for him understood that that was the policy. Donald Trump, 100%, is and was a racist. I hate this arm, by the way. It keeps just falling. And so, yeah, this guy's an op. He is 100% an operative.
Brittany Griner or low gas prices?
Dude, low gas prices. It's insane how they're releasing a basketball player who has no national identity whatsoever and doesn't want to relate with our country, who kneels during the anthem, and we don't even get a Marine back, and we give them a Russian terrorist, bro. In commie land. She's in Yodi land, and the Marines in commie land, bro. Doesn't make sense.
My favorite black, yeah. We have to see that. Nope.
You know what I say now? When we have a protester inside, which isn't even very often, I say, be very gentle. Please don't hurt him. We had a case where we had an African-American guy who was a fan of mine. Great fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what I'm, look at my African-American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay.
That was Donald Trump.
Can we all just agree that Donald Trump is funny AF though? Like, can we? Okay, I have a proposition for a future for America. You should have two presidents. One is for real. I guess that's what you had with Bush, though. Bush and Cheney, where Cheney was the real president, Bush was just the go lucky or the chucks guy at the front. I want that, but permanent. You know, just so people like Trump can have a chance and can just go out and do some talks and be funny AF. I heard what's it called? Penn Jillette. Penn Jillette. He was on Joe Rogan talking about. Oh my god. What the actual fuck?
Yep, the university's.
Oh, Tom. What is this?
Investment policy is through. I can't give you a copy here. You'll have to go to David Duncan for that, and he'll no doubt pass it on as soon as it's.
What is this? What is this look?
It's been written up, but it's through. It's done. There's no real.
I don't know if I can look at this though. Let's venture. Let's see what happens.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Well, yeah. See, I got a lot of shit for this, and I talked about it a little bit on my podcast. But I was in the room with Trump a lot. You know, I did 2 tours.
Apprentice, yeah.
I did 2 tours of duty. on Apprentice.
Tell me about that. What is that like? Because I was supposed to do that show and I passed on it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to live in New York for 3 months or whatever it was. Like,
Yeah.
It just seemed like a.
It's wise either way. It was a primetime television show, so it sold tickets. And that is our job.
Right.
And that's what we do. And I went on with one idea in my head. You know, Annie Duke, you know, the poker player, she had been on the year before. And I said, why am I going on? I mean, I know I'm going to sell tickets, and that's just a done deal. But why am I going on? What's my real goal? And she said, go on and show that atheists can be kind. That'll be your only goal for the whole show.
Oh.
Because they're going to jump on you for being atheist, and they'll jump all over you for that, and just show that you're the one that gets mad the least. Show the one that you're the nicest guy on there, and you're the hardcore atheist. And I went, okay, that's a good goal. But then you sit in the room, and I don't know how well you know the President of the United States of America.
I don't want to know him at all.
Yeah. But you spend about 2 or 3 hours every other day sitting in a room across the table like this, with a table you can't put your hands on.
Why can't you put your hands on it?
Because it might mar it. It might
that's hilarious.
Put a handprint on it.
They literally tell you don't put your hands on the
Don't
table.
put your hand on the table. And you have to sit up straight. And the camera, if you're like the team captain, which, by the way, they hate it if you call them team captain. They like to have it, you know, some sort of business jargon. And you're in a set. And that's the thing that everybody else on the show would say, we're going into the boardroom now. And I'd say, no, we're going onto the boardroom set.
So it wasn't a real boardroom?
No, of course not. None of it was real.
Was it in a soundstage?
It was, you know, it was in the Trump Towers, but they'd taken over a floor, and NBC guts it and puts up this shit. And then you got your camera, that's your hero camera, that's over your shoulder that's shooting Trump. So you can't lean into the camera.
Right.
And they want a little piece of you so you can't lean out of the camera. So then you've got about 2 hours where you sit up straight.
Hey,
and
Scream
you can't
Dream,
move
what's up?
side to side, and you can't put your hands on the table, and you listen to someone speak for 2 hours that they're going to try to edit out to get 3 minutes where he sounds okay. Okay?
What does he have to say for 2 hours?
2 hours just to get 3 fucking minutes of Trump. Yeah, we've detected copyrights. Oh, that's not good. I'm not watching anything. What are they talking about? Copyright? Me? What? I would never. I just made you one, Screen Dream. So, okay. It seems like all 3 of you are here. I want to thank you. Well, we're done with the whole Trump thing. Well, whatever. It was fun. Let me just say this one thing before then. Pendulette goes on and says he's never he's never met someone who is more, who laughs more at people getting hurt than Donald Trump. Like, that's, Donald Trump could watch someone fall down a flight of stairs and break their neck, and he's gonna laugh at it. He's gonna make jokes about it. But also, Penn says he has some sympathy for it because he thinks Trump is probably autistic, which I wouldn't be surprised by at all. But yeah, I have all 3 of you here, and I just want to thank you for this. Streaming was kind of something I just did because I was bored. I was unemployed, or I am still. I was just getting on disability. What's his special interest? Fucking over people. What do you mean? Being racist. That's his special interest. What else would it be? But yeah, I just needed something to do during the days, you know? And I thought, I'm going to try it out. I didn't have any hopes of having any audience at all for the first year, probably. That was my mindset. I'm not going to have anybody look at me live for the first year. But I don't know which one of you were first. But thank you, all three of you, because you've been here on and off, all three of you, when I've streamed. And I can't tell you how helpful it is to keep morale up while you're streaming. You know, it really does help. That's for sure. Streaming to an audience of 0 is hard. Sometimes I just fake having an audience there. I know you can see it if you look at the VOD. But when I do a video on it, if I ever do a video on it, sometimes I'm not happy with the content I've created. But if I do a video on it, nobody can tell that there's nobody there. So I think it turns out all right. But yeah, I sometimes just fake having an audience there. A nice Scream Dream. Thank you. That's from my first stream even, I think. Because I remember thinking, should I do this prior to the election or post the election? And I know I decided on post the election because I knew if I did it prior, I was going to get too many eyeballs too early. And those eyeballs those early streams are going to be hard to get right. I'm still not entirely happy with my presence on streams. I know I'm getting better. And that's why I keep at it. But I have to. But yeah, I didn't want those early streams to just have too many eyeballs. That's kind of what a lot of people burn out because they chase the dragon, so to speak. They post something early that gets too many eyeballs, and the dopamine rush goes through the roof, and they think, I have to do more of this. And I don't know exactly still what I want to do. You know? And I want to build the audience at a steady pace. How's my satisfaction with our current government from 1 to 10? Well, I had very low expectations going in. So I can just say that if my expectation going in was a 1. That's the floor. So based on that expectation, 1 to 10, so from 0 to 1, it's going to be a 1. It's going to be a 1. I hit the nail on the head there. It's like maybe a 0.8 I can go with. But I can round it out to 1. Yeah. It's so for anyone who's watching this and isn't aware, the Sweden Democrats, the far right, nationalist, socially conservative Nazi party, who isn't in the government but is supporting the government and was heavily involved in crafting the policies for the government. They promised, we're gonna lower the gas prices for you, just like we saw here with the dude from TikTok. Like lower gas prices, that's all we're gonna need. They've done shit on that. Like they've lowered the taxes with less than a few kroners, if even a kroner. I don't know. They the Christian Democrats, the far right, ultra conservative, nationalist, socially conservative, less Nazi than the Social Democrats. The Nazi lights promised we're gonna have an energy. We're gonna have energy supplements for everyone, not supplements. Energy. Oh, god damn it! I'm blanking on the name. Stimulus. We're gonna have some stimulus package for everyone for their energy bill, and we're gonna have it on Sunday. We're gonna get elected, and we're gonna have it implemented on Sunday afterwards. It's just a signature. And you know what? It would have been just a signature if the government had sent a letter of intent, I believe, something like that, to Parliament. They could, when the bill is finished, when it's ready to be implemented, they could retroactively reimburse everyone through that bill from the day of intent. But they didn't. They refused. They ignored it. There's an oopsie doopsie moment, you know? Oops. And therefore, we didn't get our stimulus until February. That's 3 fucking months that just went to waste. And it was, the media talked about being billions, or I guess millions of euros that was given to the energy sector, that was given to just the CEOs and boardroom members' pockets in bonuses after bonuses after bonuses. They raked in that money left and right. But then the Christian Democratic leader went on and said, it's not hundreds, it's not millions of euros, it's hundreds of thousands of euros. What are you talking about? Oh, only a few hundred thousands of euros went to the pockets of rich fucking people. Well, if it's only a few hundred million, then there's nothing, I guess. Yeah, thankfully, where I live and how I live, we are now 2 people in a 1-bedroom or a 2-room apartment, or 1-bedroom apartment. So we can manage our electric bill. My parents that live in the south, like I live in the middle of the country, so I still get the stimulus check. My parents who live in the south, they've been having some issues with their energy bill, you know. I live in the north and it's giving us nothing. Prices tripled this month. Oh, tripled. Damn. Let's see if we can't get a live map. There seems to be no... Ooh, Scream Dream. Oh, damn. You can barely afford warm water for showers. That's hard. That is hard. I'm not gonna lie. Damn. I'm thankfully not that. I am still living comfortably. That's Whew. Why is there no... So I can't see... I found a website that shows me, but it's just an image. I want to be able to compare. So, graph. Let's go back a year. It's around 50. But this isn't prices. This is just production, and I want prices. No, I'm sorry. I can't find. It seems a live map of prices for. If you have a link, I'll absolutely look at it. I know YouTube have changed their chat function, so now you can post links in chat, which wasn't possible before for some reason. While we're at it and just chatting, I have to. I have a new Twitter. Ta-da! Hugin Odinsson, just like the YouTube channel. That's me. That's me. So you can go there and just... Hot take, 8 is ideal boyfriend material. Well, that's me then, I guess. I guess I'm at an 8.5 perhaps. I'm not born in 2000. I just didn't want to give them my actual age. You know? I couldn't bother. Born in 2000. Yeah, like I look 23. Oh, to be 23 again. How sweet would that be? No, I'm turning 36 in less than a month. Yay. Yay. That's going to be fun. I don't care anymore. It really doesn't bother me. What bothers me is thinking back at, like, if I had been diagnosed earlier in my life, how much easier some things would be, how much I would have, how much better my life might have been to this day. Oh, someone turned, 25. My God. Advice? I'm 36. I don't have advice for myself. Like, I might have advice for teenagers. 25-year-olds? I don't know. Don't take yourself too seriously, I guess. That's like the one thing I've learned since then, I think. Like, being 25, you feel like you have everything in place. But it's a Dunning-Kruger effect, my man. It's... we have a well-known curve. Okay. This is, you are born here. How fast does time go by? Faster each day. Faster for every day that go by. You know how you slow down time? Here's a trick. How do you slow down time and experience life more? Novelty. You have to try new things. Because time, that's why when you're young, everything takes forever. Oh, we're gonna be there tomorrow. It's no big deal. It's gonna take no time, and you're gonna be there tomorrow. For a 7-year or for a 1-year-old, that's like 1/356th of their life. For a 30-year-old, that's like a nothing. You know, novelty adds to your memories, which means. So the brain stores things in chunks, I think. The brain compartmentalizes. So every time you go on a roller coaster, the first time you're on a roller coaster, it takes forever there. The second time, because you know what's happening, it takes shorter time in your experience to get there, to get all the way around the roller coaster. And life is kind of like a roller coaster, but you have to try new roller coasters. You have to try new novelty things or novel things to have life not move too quickly. If you just sit around and watch the same old telly and read the same old books, it's just gonna be, you're just gonna roll your thumbs and life's gonna be over for you. Life is like a box of chocolate. For me, at 25, I was moving out of my first apartment. My roommate was shitty. I had to move back in with my mom. Yeah, at 25, I was studying at university, or not university, högskola. I believe it's called University College. But everyone just calls it university because there's no University College isn't really a thing outside of Sweden, I think. But here's my analysis of life. You start here in life, and then you peak at Mount Stupid in your teens. Like, this is 18, 19-year-olds. They are here, you know? All of this is just to get here. Just to get there. And you think you know everything. And then slowly, you start to realize some things. 25, you're about here, right? I would say. You've just started realizing that there are things you don't know that you thought you knew. Embrace that feeling. Embrace it. Don't let go. Understand you are gonna question everything you think you know about everything at some point. And if you don't, if you stay up here at the peak of Mount Stupid, if you stay there, life is gonna be really, really bad for you. You can't stay there. It's called not growing. It's called being a fucking Republican, being a Sweden Democrat. If you grew your beard and hair out a bit, you kind of look like Stan Rizzo from Mad Men. Stan Rizzo. Do I? Maybe. I can see it. My girlfriend, she likens me to, what's his name? There we go, Matt Berry. That's who my girlfriend thinks I'm. Not necessarily in how he looks, though a little, I guess. Let's see if I can't do this. Oop. And I wanna copy image address. No. And image. Come on. Yes, I could. Like, I can see it. And I'm okay with this comparison. I love Matt Berry. New York City! Father! If you don't know these references, you have sorely missed out. Jon Snow, what's his name? The actor who portrayed Kit Harington. I have one of those faces that people go, you remind me of my friend. And I go, I know. I always remind everyone of someone's friend, you know? I just have one of those faces. Let's remove this and let's not be completely. I can see a few similarities with the facial structure, I guess. But no, I am happy with this comparison. I am content with this comparison. Matt Berry. He has the best cadence in all of television, I believe. Father! No, I want more. Okay.
Hell's horses. I did plan on using this gun to take my own life, if it ever came to it. But as you know, in the end, I jumped out of a window. I pass it on to you in the hope that if things ever get too bad, you'll be able to take the easy way out. Hopefully it won't come to it. But if it does, you must promise me that you'll shoot yourself without a moment's hesitation.
I promise, Father.
I promise, Father.
Your affectionate father, Mr. Renham.
I wonder if it's loaded. No. Ah. Here we go.
It's just a good. I bet vampires would become annoyed with buying clothes. I don't know if they would become annoyed with buying clothes. But I do believe What We Do in the Shadows has the right idea that they get stuck in whatever decade they are bitten in. I do think that's an accurate depiction of vampires. For sure. Just to finish off my Dunning-Kruger analogy, or not analogy, more point. At 25, you're here. You start to realize there are things you should question about yourself, about preconceived notions you have. And you will soon might go into the valley of despair. Now, in terms of age, that comes in form of what's it called? Middle-age crisis. Now, I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I've had my middle-age crisis. What is the middle age? May appear whom also may be onset of old age. Between the age of 40 and 60. Yeah. So that's when you get here. And then it's a slow walk to becoming more accepting of yourself and what you know. Like, you'll realize you don't have knowledge of X, but maybe you have knowledge of Y, and you'll focus on that. But in your early age, like the 20s to 30s, you'll just throw out. You'll have opinions on everything without a moment's hesitation. And you know what? I still do. Which is why I stream. But I am more than happy to be proven wrong. And that's how I'm going to get here. I am working my way down here. That's my goal. I want to get to the valley of despair and then slowly build myself up, you know? But I want to rush there because I realize I am woefully ignorant on a lot of things that I shouldn't be, I guess. I don't need that. Let's see if I can do one more thing before I end stream.
Obviously.
Oh, okay. Let's do this. This is more of a what the fuck? So this is a comedy club which posts shows to their YouTube channel, and I was just scrolling through YouTube Shorts and I came across this one. And I wondered, why? Why is she getting highlighted? Why is she getting on stage at all? If she's on an open mic night, I can understand it. If she's actually, I mean, if she's highlighting or headlining, I mean, or if she's working the scene, I am worried about comedy moving forward. Just listen to this.
I'm jealous of her, you know. She's married. I don't know. Where's my autistic chef? Right in, this guy. Who said that? I was like, please tell me it was a guy whose reflection I can see in his glasses. Those are thick. Those are thick. Sorry, who volunteered their penis? That guy? Wait, the guy with the long hair? Is that what I'm attracting? Fucking long hair guys? Fuck. What am I doing? You guys are a hot couple. What'd you do to get him? Just be yourself? It's obviously this electric personality that's firing back at me. Obviously, I'm jealous of her.
Like, where's the jokes? Where's the humor? I think this is hot girl humor. You know how hot people do not know what comedy is? We have the same with the guy that everyone rags on. Beige freak. What's the fuck his name? Like Joe Rogan is a little that. A little. Brendan Schwab. There we go. No, not Yee. Yee's not a comedian. Hot people can be funny, but it's hard for them to be comedians. Because comedy always comes from a good comedy, I should say, always comes from a point of struggle. That's why when people talk about comedy in America, it's usually about Jewish people, you know? They heavily influence their youths, their surroundings to be humoristic because they've gone through so much hardship in their days. I'm not Jewish, but I know that rabbis really tend to be including comedy in their sermons. I don't know if it's called sermons in Judaism, but you know, that's what I know them as. But hot people. Okay, and comedy also comes from an outsider's perspective. Hot people are kind of by definition insiders, as their identity, you know? They can be humorous, but it's really, really hard for them to be comedians. And I don't know why they try. They can try. They can have had a hard childhood in other ways. They can have struggled with being in a cult. Their parents might be cult members and dragged them in there, and they had to remove themselves from that. That way they've gained a struggle which they can later on appropriate for comedy, you know? And we have I saw this. I've done some stand-up. I've dabbled in it. One thing I didn't learn, one thing I wish I knew when I was doing stand-up in my 20s was, because I'm a large man. I am 6 foot, almost 6'1", 184 for metric users. I am broad-shouldered. I have a massive head. Like, I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna buy a cap just to show you guys how big my head is, but it's proportional to the rest of my body, you know? I'm not like Hassan. His body is too big for his head, you know? Which is why his head looks Hassan Piker. His head always looks fucking tiny compared to the body, you know? But yeah, so I am big, but I am proportional in my bigness. But one thing that I wish I learned, that I heard in a YouTube video from a comedian that was doing stand-up in the 80s, is the first thing you as a white man has to do when doing stand-up comedy is point the finger at yourself. Get the audience to understand why they are better than you. That's the... Because if you're a disabled person going on stage, everyone knows why they're better than you. So you are allowed to joke about anything. Anything you want, because everybody knows that you are way below them on the totem pole. So the first thing I should have done is go, look at, I'm fat, I'm lazy, I can't focus. I should just have gone full force into my problems and made them humorous. But I didn't. And I believe that's why my humor didn't land the way I wish it would when I was doing stand-up comedy. Because I had a friend who I met in university, or at university, and we were both like, "Oh, you also do stand-up comedy." We were in the same classes and everything, and so we did some stand-up comedy at Student Union Club, and some of my jokes landed, some didn't. And then I did a gig outside of Student Union, and I got, and I'm not kidding you here, I'm not exaggerating here, I'm not propping myself up with this, 0 laughs for an entire set, like 5 minutes. I was done with stand-up comedy at that point. And we had our only gig really outside of the local area that we had, like me, my friend, and another friend who we got into stand-up comedy. They were opening up a youth center in another city, and they wanted some comedians, and they asked us if we could do it, and we were like, yeah, sure, for some gas money, sure, why not? My friend talked me into not quitting. I'm like, fuck. Okay, I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna do it, and I am so fucking happy I did. The way, like, it's a 3-hour drive, and I told him, I sat myself, because I was the only one that could drive also. I sat myself behind the wheel, and I gave him a pen and pad. I said, you're going to have to write something down, buddy. And the entire way up there, we came up with an entirely new set for me. Like, none of the old jokes. And I killed it. Oh, that was a good feeling. That was a good fucking feeling. But I was this close to just never showing my face anywhere ever again. Oh boy. But yeah, hot people, it's really hard doing stand-up comedy because you don't know what hardship is. You don't know how you make fun of your hardships. And that's kind of the issue. You think pointing and laughing at people being weird is funny? That's not where the humor is. That can be the foundation for humor, but it's not going to be the humor. You're going to have to work on it. Okay, I'm going to have to quit here. I have some things I need to do before my girlfriend gets home. Thank you guys, all 3 of you, for being in the chat today. It really, really helps. And I'm really glad to have you as my audience. I'm going to try, as soon as I get a better sleep schedule, I'm going to try to stream. Okay. I'm going to try and stream earlier in the days. Because my girlfriend mostly works daytime. So streaming earlier is going to mean I can actually stream more. I'm hopefully getting on medication soon. It's the end of February and the beginning of March. I can go to a private provider on the government's dime. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be great. And that's going to help me hopefully focus better and be less disorganized, I guess. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking by, and I might be seeing you guys on Thursday, I think. Maybe earlier, but for sure on Thursday. So you guys take care, and I'll see you next time, okay? Bye-bye.